Professor, when a consumer interacts with AI-generated content, let's say as voiced by a robot, do you think the consumer has the right to know that it's talking, he or she is talking to a robot?
If that question is to me, yes, I do. And I think that is really a key area, these new kinds of necessary disclosures where we can try to reduce the incidence of this kind of fraud.
That's a yes. Does anybody disagree with the professor? You agree, both of you?
I generally agree. I would like to know personally.
Okay.
I do also generally agree with that. I do think it depends a little bit on your definition of AI and the particular function or use case we're discussing. But generally, when you're talking the financial services
Professor,
sector,
do you
Senator John Kennedy led a heated Senate hearing on AI and banking. He grilled experts on AI's role in loan fairness and consumer transparency. This debate could shape AI's future in finance. Kennedy asked a simple question. If a consumer talks to an AI, do they have the right to know it's a robot? The professor's answer was clear. Yes, they should know. Transparency matters. Kennedy also asked if consumers deserve to know who owns the robot and its content. The panel agreed. Yes, they should know. If you're into tech and AI, hit subscribe. We're just getting started.
You think the consumer should be able to know not only that the content is generated by AI, but you think the consumer is entitled to know who owns the robot and therefore the generated content?
Yes, and I think that's part of a more general principle of knowing in any entity that you're interacting with, what interest are they representing?
Okay. When a bank loans money, it has a profit motive, does it not?
Yes, sir.
It wants to be paid back. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
And if the bank is not paid back enough times, the bank goes broke. Am I right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Kennedy pivoted, asking if AI could better predict loan defaults.
Do you think it is possible to generate, through artificial intelligence, an underwriting system that precisely determines who is unlikely to pay back a loan?
I believe that that machine learning models with a lot of data and AI can significantly increase the accuracy by which such decisions could be made.
Can it do that right now?
Lending firms use models right now to predict the best they can, subject to the kinds of factors they're allowed to consider to determine whether a loan will be paid back.
Kennedy pushed the logic further. If AI builds the most accurate system, and that system says some people shouldn't get loans, should the government step in and say, we don't like the outcome?
I'm going to use as the benchmark the current underwriting system, the different approaches that various financial institutions take. You think AI can improve on that in terms of determining precisely who's likely to pay the loan back and who isn't?
It can improve on that in part on the ways that it could potentially take into account much more information than is generally available to systems.
Okay, and let's
today.
suppose that system is developed, and all of you experts agree, yes, this system is more precise in determining who is likely to pay the money back as opposed to someone else. It's better than what we have now. By definition, it's going to have a disparate impact, is it not? I mean, some people are going to get a loan and some aren't, right?
That's right, but I think that we need to make a distinction between...
Okay, can I just finish this thought?
Certainly.
Because I only have a minute.
Kennedy wanted to know, if AI is right, but the result looks unequal, should fairness override accuracy? He asked. Are we saying loans should go to people less likely to repay, all for fairness?
If we all agree on that system, this is a really good system to predict who can pay the money back and who it can't. And we know by definition it's going to have a disparate impact. Some people are going to get a loan, some people are not going to get a loan. Do you think at that juncture government should step in or has the right to step in and say, no, we don't like the result?
Yes,
because it didn't include enough people from this area or enough people of this educational level?
I think there are other interests besides accuracy that are legitimate to be considered
Do you think,
in the public interest.
if you could answer my question, do you think government at that point should be able to step in and say, no, we do not like the results?
I think that in some circumstances, if the reason for that decision is has systematic negative effects in our society, that would be a legitimate interest.
But we all agreed, didn't we, that this system was the best system available?
It was the most accurate, which I don't necessarily think is the same thing as being the best.
Kennedy asked what many were thinking. You want quotas, don't you?
So you think, what other factors do you think should be considered other than whether someone's going to pay back the loan?
Notions of fairness in
So
in
you think a
eligibility.
loan should be made to someone who's less likely to pay back the loan as opposed to someone who's more likely to pay back the loan on the basis of fairness, and government ought to make that decision?
I think if the processes by which the decisions are made are not fair, those processes should not be allowed.
You
to
want
be used.
quotas, in other words, right?
No, that's not correct.
It sounds to me like it's correct.